online haircut.
Alright guys, welcome back to Avenues Podcast. This week we're on episode 179. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting episode that we have for you guys today. We're going to be going over Christmas. It's December now. We're going to be talking about sports. We got some sports topics. And we're also going to be talking about JiDion deleting all those videos. So, what do you want to start off with? Sorry about no guest this week. I tried.
It happens. I guess we can just start with Christmas topic. So,
Sure.
yeah, today it's December 1st, first of the month. Christmas is coming up. And honestly, it doesn't really feel too Christmassy, at least where we live. It's like the weather's been pretty cold since like November, so.
Well, a year ago this month we had snow.
Yeah, and we've had snow like earlier, like
Yeah.
a couple like years prior, but yeah, now I haven't had snow yet, and yeah, it's pretty just cold and rainy, and like weather's not very good, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't really mind the rain though, as long as I'm not outside with it. But yeah, I don't like snow when it's not like a lot of it. If there's too much snow, you get snow days. You get to go tobogganing and skiing, snowboarding, whatever else. But if it's just too little snow to go tobogganing, it's just a hazard and it's just annoying.
yeah,
And cold. So I just don't like that. I don't like when it snows unless it's like really big, good snow, good like powder. But that is fun, and
Yeah.
that will happen.
because otherwise it's just a pain in the ass. You gotta
Yeah.
like shovel the driveway. You gotta
Dude, snow
salt your-
blindness is trippy.
Yeah, I know. You gotta salt all your like
Yeah.
freaking driveway, shovel. I used to do that as a kid. I'd like
I still do that.
go around and like I'd like knock on people's doors and like,
Good way to get money.
yeah, I'll shovel your driveway for like $20 or some shit, and then I'd like salt it or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, if it's not like super snowing and there's not a lot of snow, it's just like annoying and it's like a nuisance and shit.
Mhm.
But yeah, hopefully, I think here I don't think we're gonna get a big snow year because the years before it was like a El Nino year, which means
Mhm.
like it's
The kid?
supposed to. I don't know.
That's literally the kid.
Is it?
In Spanish?
Yeah, there's El Nino and El Nina or whatever.
That's
And
boy. It's like boy and girl. Like.
yeah, so I guess the El Nino is just like a colder year with more like precipitation and rain, which is obviously like snow on the mountains and stuff. But then El Nina is like warmer and like drier, so there's less like snow. So it's just kind of like you have a better snow season and a worse snow season. So yeah, we have a worse snow season this year, unfortunately,
Mm.
for, you know.
Well, there's already. I mean, this November we talked about this with Halloween. Like, people have been celebrating in November, which I think is really weird. But there's already lights up in November. There was already events happening, but now
Mhm.
it's like, okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff going on in Metro Vancouver as well.
Christmas market festival.
Christmas market. They have a bunch of free stuff in North Vancouver at the Lonsdale Quay, and then in Surrey they also have a lot of stuff going on there. I don't think they're doing the train this year at Stanley Park. They've been canceling that. They canceled it because of COVID.
I used to do the Halloween train when I was a
I did
kid.
that too, actually. I did that in 2019. It was a lot of fun. But the Christmas train, they've canceled it because of COVID, but like they just haven't brought it back. I don't think. Maybe one time, but no,
Yeah.
it's been canceled, which is unfortunate. I don't know why. But Christmas is a great celebration. Get together with friends, with family, getting gifts. Are you a giver or are you a receiver?
I'm a bit of both. I mean,
Well,
like
everyone is, but like, what do you
Yeah.
like more?
what I like more, definitely getting gifts. I feel like, definitely receiving gifts. Getting gifts is kind of a pain in the ass, especially when you have like a lot of the people in my family are pretty hard to shop for. Like I feel like my sister's pretty easy. My mom is super difficult. My dad is just like impossible. Like it's like when you have a dad to shop for that, like you ask him like what he wants and he just says like nothing.
Uh-huh.
Like it's so impossible. But like it's either like for him, like he's a musician, he plays like piano, so I mean every year for like his birthday, Christmas, like any like gifts, me and my sister had like always gotten him like piano stuff. Then like one year I got him like coffee stuff, one year I got him like barbecue stuff, but
Valid.
one of the best things
stuff.
that I got him, yeah, dad stuff, or
Yeah.
like socks is like such a classic one. Like, get him like pizza socks or some shit.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's funny. He used to
Yeah.
like wear the socks that we get him and stuff. Also, like, I think the best gift I've ever gotten him, I've got him like one of those hydro flasks, and I feel like
Oh,
when you're shopping for like dads or like Christmas, birthday, or whatever,
do dads like the hydro flasks?
my dad actually like loves his. Like, he actually uses it. Like, I feel like if you, in order to like judge your gift if it's good, at least in my books, for my dad, is like how much he uses it. Cause I'd like one
Oh
year
yeah, true.
I bought my dad all these like specialty coffee things and like whatever, and he just like barely drank it. Like, he like never used it, or like some of the stuff is just like he's like, okay, like he's like, thanks, like he's thankful, but then he doesn't really end up using it. But the hydro flask, I see him, he's using it all the time. So I don't know. I gotta think of something good to get him, but who knows?
Yeah. So I'm gonna agree with you because it's like I like giving in general better. However, the reason I'm not saying I like giving more is because it's so hard, like, to give something to someone when you don't know what they want, or it's
Yeah.
like they just don't help you out with that. So that's the
Yeah.
only reason I like receiving more, is because it's just such a pain in the ass trying to get something for someone. If I know that they want something, easy, get that
Yeah.
out of the way, easy peasy. I
Exactly.
like giving more. Because I like their reaction to that, and it makes you have a bigger smile as opposed to receiving. That's
exactly.
just me.
Yeah,
That's just
I agree
me.
with you.
But with receiving, it's like, dude, you get some lit shit. But
Yeah.
also, it's like you have to kind of like, I don't know, not. It gets repetitive. It's not
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
It's just like you get something, you're like, thank you, this is awesome. But then it's like, thank you, this is awesome. Thank you, this is like,
Yeah.
on and on and on. And it's
Yeah.
like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
dude,
Like, it's just, it sounds so fake at this point. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be fake, and I love every single gift I've ever gotten in my life. But it's like,
I totally agree. It's like you get something that like you really like wanted, or like you're, I don't know, someone like it was like a perfect gift, and you're like, oh my god, thank you. This is like, I was like looking at this and like so thoughtful, blah blah blah. And then the next gift is like, oh my god, this is, and then you're like, it's just like you're like
Yeah.
repeating dialogue, and then it seems like insincere, and you're like,
yeah.
oh shit, like now I kind of look like a dick, but it's like, how do I not look like a dick?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to get like super hyped every
Yeah.
prez? Like, I open one, I'm like, hell yeah, I wanted this. Like, you know what I mean? Or I'm just like super like quiet. I'm like, oh,
thanks.
like thanks, I really appreciate it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like at some point, it's like, I don't know, how do you react? But
Or what if you get a gift and it's like what you dreamed of? You're like, thank you so much, and you get socks the next one, and you're like, yeah, thanks.
yeah, thanks.
Like,
The classic, dude. This is the one that I get all the time. I'll get something that I've like, really wanted, then I'm like, hey, I actually needed this. Like, I'll get socks. I'm like, oh, I could use some socks. I mean, right now a little bit, but
yeah, I agree.
classic.
What are some Christmas traditions that you
In
do?
my family, we always do Christmas Eve at it was always at my grandma's house, but then my grandpa's in the hospital, my grandma has dementia, so for the past like 5 or so years we've been doing Christmas Eve dinner at my uncle's house, and so
So
the
you
whole
can't
family,
you can't have dinner at grandma's even though dementia. Does she not know you anymore?
no, we could, but it's just like it's more difficult, and it's like she gets like super stressed, like she's like super stressed and like anxious all the time, so she just works better. Like, we just pick her up, go to my uncle's house, and then they make dinner, and we do dinner there for Christmas Eve on my dad's side. And then for my mom's side, or like my mom's part of the family, we usually go to, like years before, my cousins had a place in Whistler, so we'd go there for like Christmas. Yeah, so then for my mom's side, we usually just get together with like my aunt and my cousins and stuff. We used to go to Whistler and go skiing in there, but that's not really like, it's not really a tradition in the sense that
Just
we did it
something you
every
do
year, but it
once in a
like
while.
happened that like we
Yeah.
would, right? But in terms of like one tradition that we have that I can think of right now is there's like an old German tradition. I don't know why we started doing it, but there's this thing called the Christmas pickle, and basically like when you decorate the tree, you're supposed to hide like the Christmas pickle somewhere in the tree, and then whoever finds it, I don't know, like there's supposed to be some sort of prize or something, but we just like end up like we have this one pickle ornament that we always hide on the tree, and usually I hide it, but yeah, and then my sister or some shit finds it, and then
Interesting.
it's kind of weird. I don't really know why we do it, but it just so happens to be that we do. What about you? Any traditions?
Yeah. So we do like traditional decorations.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same decorations each year, dude. I'm a big Nutcracker fan.
Those are sweet as hell, bro. I won't even lie.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I loved those. I would go to London Drugs or somewhere, Shoppers,
Yeah.
and I would just like the art behind it is so cool.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting all these like, oh, this one's blue and it's got this, and this one's green. It has like, oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
And I love those. We have a few at my house. Never actually used them for nut cracking, believe it or not.
I've done it. It's pretty cool. You like put it. You got.
I think I've done it once actually, but it's like
it's kind of
kinda
inefficient.
hard.
It's kind of dumb, but it's
yeah.
pretty cool.
And I've seen the Nutcracker the play actually. A few years ago,
Yeah.
I went to December, to the theater and I watched it. And it was quite a good performance. And I think that like, what else do I have? Well, being Scottish, in the morning of Christmas, we have a Scottish breakfast, so we eat Scottish food,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty good because it tastes good. I don't eat haggis, and I don't think I ever will. And not many people that are Scottish like haggis, I feel like. Because the only people that do are, like, fucking, like, Highlanders that are, like, really, like, masculine and, like...
Yeah.
I mean, my brother likes it, but he's the only person I know. And, like, my
Yeah.
whole bloodline. Out of
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
It's weird, but it's just so unappetizing
Yeah.
looking. I would never have that.
Have you ever tried it?
No. No, I don't think I have, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Would you?
I mean, maybe like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like you gotta try it, but like just to say that you tried it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but
not
it's
out of,
like, dude, I know I'm not gonna like shit, but like,
yeah,
like it's like, oh, you don't know if you like it till you try it. Well, I know that I don't like shit. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
eat piled turd.
yeah,
Like it's the same thing, dude. Like,
yeah. I know.
ugh, nah, dude. But there's some good stuff that I have. Anyway, that's my Christmas traditions. Obviously, the gift opening. Are you? I don't think so. But are you? I'll ask anyway. Are you one of the families that have you open a gift for Christmas Eve, like under the tree? Like I know you might do gifts on
Mhm.
Christmas Eve, and I've done that just because like there's no time to do it on
issues,
Christmas.
Yeah.
But it's like I've never had some families, they let their kid like open one the day before.
Yeah.
You choose one, you can open
Yeah.
up. Like I think that's kind of cheating, to be honest. I've never had that.
I think we've done it before. Like one year when I was like, I don't know, I was young. We went to South Africa to see my mom's side of the family, like my grandpa, and we basically did like, but because there was like so many of the grandchildren, like all of my cousins, there's like me, my sister, and then there's probably like 5 grandkids there. So it was like it ended up being easier, but we did do it, and I did it a couple. Well, we did, and then we also used to do. This is another tradition that I just thought of now, but we used to do Secret Santa for like my dad's side of the family, where the kids would get like the other kids pretty much, or the other grandkids or whatever. So we used to do that, but now we don't really do it anymore because everyone's like older and stuff. So it just kind of phased out, I guess. But that kind of used to be like the gift that we'd open. Like you'd open the Secret Santa one while like the whole family was there. So that was kind of like the intent behind that. But in terms of opening gifts, like on Christmas Eve, like the night of, just with my family, like my immediate family, I don't think we do it.
What's
anymore.
the weather like in South Africa in December?
It's hot. It's like because the seasons are like flipped there, so it's like our winter is like their summer. So it's pretty.
So
it's
in
like
the
warm
summer
and
it's
nice.
cold as shit.
It doesn't get cold as shit. It just gets
It's
like
just cold there.
more.
Like
It's like
15 or something.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that's
Same with Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, they're all like mild. They don't have
Australia's
extreme-
hot right now, I think. Could be wrong. but
Yeah, I think
so.
they as well have like the flipped season things.
Countries like Malaysia and Brazil close to the equator, they don't change, right? So it's like, dude,
Yeah.
okay, here's what I wish. This is like in a made up world, but I really wish this was the case. I wish there's no such thing as seasons, and I don't mean like the equator. I mean like one day it's 20 degrees with sun, the next it's snowing, -2, or like one with like rain 5 degrees, one with rain like 20 degrees. Like you'd never know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Then you're so fucked. It's like one day like you're like going to play soccer and it's like super nice and warm outside, and the next day it's like -1 and it's like cold as shit outside and like could be snowing. You know?
Yeah, but you get variety more often.
That's true. But I feel like the nice thing about having like consistent seasons.
You get to enjoy that for a longer period of time. That's the thing.
And you
that's
know
good.
what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like summer. It's like,
But you can
hell
check
yeah,
the weather
vacation and shit.
forecast. It's not like you don't know.
Well, yeah, but it's like you just get blindsided. You're like, one day it's like super nice and warm. You like go to the beach, and then the next day you get fucked with like cold ass like weather and stuff.
You have that anyway, though. Like it might be.
Vancouver weather's like bipolar,
Yeah.
bro. It's like, but
Yeah.
I mean, not to that, not
No,
to
no,
like
no, yeah.
that extent,
Not-
but yeah, for
not
sure, it's like,
impossible levels though.
yeah, like in like early November, it like dropped to like 3 or 2, like what it is now, and then like the next day it was like warm and like 15 or some shit. So
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
it's so dumb. But
It's the same sort of thing, just not as extreme.
yeah, exactly. But yeah,
I'm gonna leave it at that unless you have anything else to say.
it's pretty much
We can
it.
Move on.
Yeah, I guess we can go on the topics now.
So how about I get mine out of the way because I only have one left.
all right.
So this week, YouTuber, ex-YouTuber, whatever you want to call him, JiDion, has made a video removing every single YouTube video from all of his channels. Every VOD, every video, every vlog, every whatever you want to call it, every single video from his channel is gone, except for his new wave of Christian content. So you've seen the new Christian content that he's trying to make. I think I've talked to you about it.
You've talked to me about it, but I haven't like watched any of the videos
Yeah,
or anything.
so he's trying to devote his life to God more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's just found Jesus. He's been a follower of Christ for whatever amount of time, probably his whole life. But he made a video deleting all of his videos, and I was like, no, this can't be true. And I looked at his channel; it's all gone. I'm like, fuck, dude, this is so like sad. And so I click on the video, and I just want to say off the bat, I heavily disagree with him, and I'm gonna get into like what he did and why, so you guys don't have to watch it, or if you don't know. For Justin as well, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So basically, he said, I'm going to get straight to the point. Why did I delete all my videos? He said, okay, so let's look up the word like pranking on Urban Dictionary. And it was something along the lines of being mischief and being mischievous and doing something like making one person think the other when that's not the case. Something like that. So he was like, okay, that's what it means to prank someone. Now, it used mischievous. It uses the word mischievous. Who's the most mischievous person biblically?
Mischievous? I'm thinking like the devil or something.
The devil. So he said, I am acting of a trait of the devil. My counter argument is, the devil was once an angel. The devil has feelings too. The devil, realistically, probably experiences a lot of happiness in his life. I, for one, am a very positive person. Does that make me like the devil? Absolutely not.
The thing is, okay, I'm gonna bring in some like Catholic school argument here. They say like there's like we do like religion class and stuff, and one of the things is like they explain God as like the presence of like good, truth, beauty, goodness, all that stuff. Like love pretty much is like he's like the embodiment of love. And so the devil, and in turn like anything bad, is the absence of God. So the devil in turn is like, you can deduct that the devil cannot be happy in a fulfilled sense because he's incapable of that because he's the absence of good. Like if something's good, it cannot also not be good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
So that's like I guess that's like the Catholic understanding of it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. So
But I understand your point, yeah.
Good point. To move on a little bit, he also then goes on to say, okay, but also there's a line. I'm not gonna leave this just yet. So, there's a lot of fucked up pranks, and JiDion, like, controversially could have done some of those, and yeah, okay, maybe I get where he's coming from, because at that point it's like, that's fucked up. Don't do that. That's a bad thing to do, right? I can't think of anything he's done. I was gonna say I can go watch it, but can't do that. But there's some stuff. I'll use an example. I saw Kenel Joseph do this. It wasn't too bad, but he could have gone somewhere else. He called. It was like Lost Cat, and he called and he was just like meow, like on the phone.
That's pretty funny.
He just was like meow, and they're like, what? And he's like meow. It's funny.
That's pretty good.
But then he hangs up and he's like laughing. He's like, yo, that's fucked. Let's say he called and was like, I found your cat. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then he's like, just kidding. And then hangs up. That is messed up, and that's pure evil.
Yeah,
That is pure. There's nothing good out of that. There's nothing good. I would not laugh to that. I would be very apologetic if I was witnessing that, and that's the devil. Okay, I would agree. However, prank calling someone and saying, "Is your refrigerator running?" Yeah. Then you should probably go catch it. You really think that's bad?
Yeah.
Like, there's a line.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I'm not the guy that's gonna be doing the cat shit.
Yeah.
I'm the refrigerator. So like I've done prank calls. I've done stuff that like controversially is fine. So I don't know, stuff like ding dong ditching or doing pranks like FaZe Rug did the cocaine prank. Did you see that video?
No, I didn't.
It's the most famous video on his channel where he tells his mom, "Can you go grab my sweater from the car?"
Yeah.
And she does, and there's like a flower in his pocket. And then she's like, "What is this?" And like she's freaking out. She's like Arab, and she's like speaking Arabic, yelling at him. He's like, "I swear I didn't do any of that. That's my friend's. I was just holding on to it for him." And he's like, "What's his name? I'll call his mom right now." And like it's just like that shit's funny. But you can argue like, "Oh, but they have so much anxiety, and like, what if they did harm to themselves, or what if they?" None of that would happen. Okay, first of all, none of that would happen. So don't say what if when in reality that's not the case. And second of all, you get anxiety for like a minute or two. What's so bad about that? And then it's gone. Like really, like what is that harming?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get or FaZe Rug he lit his brother's shoes on fire when he just bought like a same pair, and it wasn't actually his shoes.
Actually,
You've seen that?
I understand.
So then it was his brother's like freaking out. And then you can say, well, what if he jumped in the fire? Like, would he really do that? Did that happen? No. Like, you would never. He's not an idiot. Like, no one would do that. Jumping in a fire to go get you. Fuck off.
Yeah.
So, basically, he just pulled out the shoes. It's like, okay, these are his actual shoes. None of these jokes that I mentioned has anyone ever been like, fuck off, I'm mad at you, like, I hate you. Everyone, like, any logical, normal human being would be like, haha, that's funny.
Yeah.
However, the cat one, no. I would be very pissed off, and I would be very sad. And that's not something you should do.
Not the cat one that's saying, meow, on the phone. Like, not that one. I found your cat. He's right here with me. He's safe.
Yeah.
In reality, missing. Okay, I want to interject here, because I have, like, okay, so you could say, like, there's a bunch of pranks where it's like, I mean, that's the whole thing. You don't actually do anything really, like, bad, but you pretend that you do, kind of thing, and you con the person, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, you deceive them. You make them think something else is happening when in reality it's not. This is where I draw the line. When, I don't know if you've seen that prank where it's like, I think it was it, no, it wasn't Casey Neistat, or one of those, like, vlog YouTuber guys, and he basically has a, like, little kid, like, he's probably, like, 5 or something, younger, toddler, and basically, the whole thing was set up. He was going to buy an ATV for his kid or whatever, like a little, not like ATV or like dirt bike or whatever it is. And basically what he does is he puts a fake doll of this kid on the ATV, and his wife is in the back, like grabbing something or like checking the details or the confirmation or something with the other, probably the buyer. And basically what he does, he puts his kid on the back, and then he ends up like, when the wife walks away, he switches the kid with like a doll or something that looks just like him, and basically like ties his hand to the front and puts the throttle down, and the ATV goes like off this jump, and then it fucking crashes, and there's like flames everywhere, and the wife is like horrified. She's like screaming.
My kid just died.
Yeah, she thought her kid died, and then the guy's like, just kidding. I'm like, okay, that's so fucked up. Like, there's this line, like, but you could say also, it's like, oh, like, the intent, like, she was only like worried for like a minute, right, or something like that, but it's, but she's also like, pretty much is like,
for that, it depends on what he did. If he told her right away, it's just a prank and here's your kid, I'm fine with that. But if he went along with it and was like, yo, and like that's dragging it.
Well, no, he
on.
Like, I don't know how long it was, but he was like, oh my god, and then he ran over, and then he's like, just kidding, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that's
like,
not good.
It's like, I mean, even like playing with someone's emotions like that, like your kid dying, is like, you don't even want to go there. Like, that's
okay. What do you think?
As a mother of a kid too, like,
we talked about we talked about this a while ago, but what about the Pornhub prank? Is that drawing the line? I would say no.
Like, it's hard, because like, for me, like, experience it, I was pissed. Like, if it was real, I would have been like, fucking pissed, right? But like it wasn't, but it threw me off. Like that's the thing. It's like,
would you say it wrecked your morning?
like kind of like, yeah, like if that situation happened, like it stressed me out, like for sure. I was stressed as fuck, right? And then I was also just like, I was off put kind of, if that makes sense. But it didn't necessarily, it wasn't like harmful.
It wasn't detrimental to you.
Yeah, to like your mental health or some shit. I mean, like
you didn't off yourself.
No, like it was annoying. Like I was pissed off. I was like, fucking.
You're more annoyed at the fact that it was a prank, I feel like.
Yeah. I was like, oh fuck this, right? But like, the thing is, when it's something like your kid, like the thought of your kid like dying in an accident or some shit is like mortifying. Like that's tragic. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for him to like, just kidding, like, you know, and like fucking blast it on social media is like, this is like the content that I'm using to like get numbers and shit. It's money. Just like, it's fucked.
What do you think of the? Okay, yeah. I think. Okay, so I think we made some really good points. So my that's kind of my conclusion with that. I don't really know what else to say. Moving on, JiDion talked about the fact that okay, so why would I be doing something that the devil is doing? And then those are my two arguments. Like the devil does stuff that we do as sinners. You can never be not a sinner. So that's my argument. And then also the fact that you know, there's a line that's like, is it really bad? Like there's a lot of pranks that are not bad, that are not inhumane. The ones that are inhumane are the ones that are, yes, evil, and I agree with him. Now, I don't think what he was doing was like inhumane for the most part, or else I wouldn't support him. I wouldn't watch him. There were some times where I've watched him and I'm like, yo, that's pretty fucked. But that was a very rare. And he's even said, yo, that's pretty messed up. I shouldn't do that. So maybe that's what he's talking about, but I don't think so. I think he thinks his whole lifestyle was bad in that way. And I mean, dude, I'm not gonna tell someone what to not and not do with their life, especially when they're older than me. So I think that he can do whatever he wants, and I respect him for trying to put good into the world and trying to do the right thing. That's what he's trying to do. A lot of people will be upset, but I'm kind of upset, but at the same time I don't really care, because it's not like I hadn't missed out on anything. I've watched it all. Like I've watched almost every single one of his videos. I won't be watching him anymore because the content that he's going into is not interesting for me. I might watch one or two videos depending. He makes some pretty like clickbait titles, which is like, you know, it would get you interested with like his Christian content. But no, I'm not really upset. I mean, I kind of am, just because it's like, oh, you know, it kind of sucks. But it's like I don't really care at the end of the day. It's like his life, and respect to him. He's trying to do the right thing, and he's trying to do what he thinks is best for his life. And if that's the case, and if it actually is the best for his life, then go ahead and do that, right? So I don't really care about this, but it's just like that's where I disagree with his opinions on life, with the manner of pranks. And he's respectful as well. He's like, yeah, everyone that's doing it's fine. Like, you know, I love you and all this stuff. So yeah, good for him, I guess.
All right. So my thoughts on this whole situation, I kind of agree with Colin, and I also disagree. So the point that I disagree with is like everyone sins. I mean, that's like, it's inevitable, but I feel like you can actively like change your lifestyle and like lead your path to a relationship with God, or like even if you do have a relationship with God, you're still gonna sin, but you can actively like pursue like a better life without sin, or like as much as you can, right? Like everyone's imperfect, but it's just like how much do you like put in the work to try.
That's true.
So that's my first thought on that. And then the whole thing, like connecting back to the prank things, like do I think they are harmful or whatever? Like, is it wrong? Do I agree with JiDion in taking those videos down? My thoughts are that like the majority of his pranks were like, they weren't necessarily bad. They didn't inflict harm or like damage or anything, or like violence, or you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like particularly bad, but he acted in a way that he was kind of like a dick to like employees, workers and stuff.
Yeah, that's.
And then he didn't really resolve the issue. Like it would like leave people like, I guess, unsatisfied or like pissed off, right? So
sometimes he did stuff that like you didn't need to piss that person off. Like,
yeah, and then it's just like it's almost acting like a dick for no reason. Like an example I could think of is like one of the bowling ones. Like it was pretty funny. He brought in like a watermelon or some shit, and like he's like bowling like these like just like some random shit. And these people, like, for no reason, he's almost, like, edging them on. He's like, they're like, he's like, I'll bowl 280, I'll bowl 280. Like, he's saying, like, he's insane. He's like the second coming of Jesus in bowling.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then, like, but then he, like, bowls a watermelon and it gets stuck in the bottom. And the maintenance worker has to come in. And like, the people kick him out because they're, like, pissed off. Like, okay, like, it's like,
they gotta
he
hire
fucked up. Yeah, they have
technicians
to
to
hire
come.
technicians, all this stuff. And then also, it's like, it's not like, just kidding, because it's like, you fucked them over. Like, regardless if it's a prank or not,
That's
like,
a
it's
great
funny.
That's a great example.
But it, like, you're still screwing the people over. So, like, I understand his sentiment in some pranks like that. But then you get to, like, his other pranks where it's, like, a haircut in NBA. Like
that's so harmless.
Like, and those are so funny. Like, dude, that's
so cool.
One of my favorite ones is, like, the sleeping in a WNBA game. Like, he spent, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars on, like, tickets to fly to games because he got kicked out for, like, shooting a ball or whatever.
From the NBA.
Yeah, and, like, those ones are so funny. And those ones I find, like, okay, it's kind of a nuisance, but I feel like all the workers in the NBA and WNBA ones were like they thought it was funny, right?
No one was,
But it was just, like, policy, they had to kick him out. So there's really, like, a toss-up.
Yeah.
But generally, if you were to categorize the behavior, I would say generally, not that it was, like, intended to be, like, to, like, make people worse off, but I feel like generally it did happen in terms of, like, the ones with stores, because it's like, okay, the employees have to deal with this shit. It takes time out of their job, even though, like, technically it's their job. But it just, like, it ends up, like, making people's lives worse because they're, like, pissed off or stressed or anxious, like, dealing with this shit.
Yeah, that's a great point. So it's kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great point. I think, it's funny, but if you think about it, it's pretty, like, fucked. I bowled 280. That's so good.
They were so mad, too, because they were like, it was so funny. They're, like, quoting. They're like, no one's ever bowled 280 but this guy. And it's, like, some, like, pro bowler in, like, the freaking 70s or some shit. And it's, like, I witnessed him or something. And it's, like, he's like, no, bro, I bowled 280. Like, you should see this shit. And he, like, he's like a fucking watermelon and, like, throws it down the lane. And they're, like, pissed off and shit. But
it's the cost for the technicians to come and, like, repair
the technicians is a fucking, what the fuck is this? Yeah, we had someone throw a watermelon down the lane and, like, But
yeah, you're right. And I think, he's had some really good ones. Also, it's like, he's banned from so many places and he can't go, and he fixed, like, I guess you could say fixed his life, and it's like, for what now?
Yeah.
Like, you're just banned from all this shit.
You can't go to anywhere.
You can't go to your local Tim's. You can't go to Walmart, whatever. For him. Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's some other YouTubers. Dude, for Loaf, it's the opposite. He makes people in public. He interacts with everyone, like, super friendly, even if there's, like, a confrontation.
Yeah.
And but with Loaf, what he does is he, like, pokes fun at people that are assholes to him.
Yeah.
And then he will flame them, and that's super just for me. That's super like, okay, go, dude, 100% do that. But he never is like, yo, fuck you, or like, he's not like, oh, no, he's taking 30 pictures per second. That's not really that bad. I'm using Bale and Levine, but that's not, it's not bad. Can't think of an example, but yeah, he's not like a dick. I think, like, oh man, yeah, it's gonna be sad to miss this shit, but there's other YouTubers. Dude, Canal Joseph did this super funny one. I actually did this on my trip to the U.S. In September when I was with my friends in the hotel room. But, like, Canal Joseph's latest video, he's in a hotel room, right, and he's, like, calling other rooms, and so he's like, do you want to cuddle, buddy? And then they're like, what? And then one guy came to his room and he's like, did you just call me? And he's like, oh yeah, I think so. And then he's like, I'm gonna get my foot up your ass so far. And he's like, what? I don't like violence. Or, like, he acts like an idiot. That's like his persona. It's so funny. And then the cops came to his door, but the cops knocked on the hotel room door, and he's like, who is it? And then they're like, your cuddle buddy. And so he's like, oh, okay. And he opens the door, and the cop's like, just kidding.
What the fuck?
And then he's like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, I'm just trying to get a cuddle buddy. And they're like, are you shooting porno? And he's like, I didn't want to say it, but yeah. And then they're like, it's illegal, right? You can't do that here. And he's like, wait, really? It's just, like, the funniest shit.
Yeah.
And, like, okay. Also, you can say, well, they're wasting the police's time. That's true in a sense, but here's the thing. Sometimes those motherfuckers at the stores, they'll be like, okay, get out, like, leave the store. Here's what I don't agree with, is that they call the cops. that's not the YouTuber's fault that they're calling the cops. That's the worker's fault. You're wasting the cops' time by calling them. You can physically kick them out. It's your store, right? You're the manager. You take care of it. You get them out of there. What are they gonna do? Start a fight? Okay, then call the police. It's just, and then that's the YouTuber's fault. But if you're telling them to get out and they're not getting out, the police are doing the exact same job as you are doing. They'll just tell them to leave, and they might have physical contact. That's it. There's not much of a difference as opposed to you taking action and you wasting the cops' time. Now, you can also argue, is it really wasting the cops' time? Because a lot of the cops' jobs are like paperwork, but at the same time, they could be responding to something important. So that's kind of a 50-50. I'm more of on the side of like it's a waste of their time because I just think they could be doing something productive, even when it's paperwork. So I think the workers that call the police, I think that's their fault, and I think they shouldn't be doing that. They're the ones wasting the police time. They see a camera, sometimes they won't even tell them to leave. They'll just call the cops. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you wasting their time? Like, and actually, I've seen videos where police officers gone mad. Like, you called me in for this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I totally agree. I don't think workers should be calling the police because someone doesn't want to leave. You handle it. You do whatever you have to do, but the cops aren't going to do anything different than you. So
my thoughts on that, it's like I don't know if they can like place their hands on them, because then like, dude, if I was one of those prank YouTubers, I'm like yo, like they all get like, I don't know, pissed off if someone like pushes them.
But then that's their fault at the end of the day. They're not leaving. That's their fault.
Yeah, I don't know like the law behind it and shit, if they're like legally allowed to like put their hands on someone if they're in their property. I don't really know, but like if not, like calling, like what else do you do? Like if you told them to leave and they're not leaving, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, it's hard to say. But yeah,
there's a lot of like morals to this stuff as well.
Yeah, this is the other thing that I thought about too when you were speaking. I was also thinking like, what if like you could say like, okay, you piss off a couple people, but like you make so many people like laugh and so many people like love the videos too. Like,
but but it's at the expense
of another person. Yeah, exactly. Right.
One guy, we had NDL on here a while ago, and he met Jack Doherty. And I used to watch Jack Doherty when I was younger, not often, but like I've watched some of his videos, like Fortnite or whatever, and he was like pretty good. And he did videos with Ireland Boys, but they stopped making videos with Ireland Boys. He did, and like I've watched his content nowadays. Yeah. The dude's like 20, but he looks like he's like 17 or like 16, and he's always been like a small guy. But this guy picks fights with people. If he's in a store, he'll be like fuck you, and like he's just like the biggest loudmouth motherfucker ever, and it's so annoying to watch because it's just pure disrespect. And the people that watch his videos are fucking like little kids. Bro. Yeah. He doesn't have any big demographic, and then his fucking girlfriend's an OnlyFans star.
Yeah, I know, I've seen that shit.
And that she does fucked up content too. Not even her pornography. Like I've seen like some of her videos where it's super like sexual fucking like luring shit. It's like those, really disturbing.
I've seen those too, but it's like a kid. They're like, oh, what do you want from my, like, they're like, oh, if you don't, like, this is the thing, if you don't talk in the mic, I'll give you anything you want from the mall. And then she goes to like some like 5-year-old kid, and then they go like, what do you want? And they're like, what's your name? And they, you know, like the like trend or whatever. And then if they win, then they go like, oh, do you know how I paid for this? And then they go, link in bio. And then they're like plugging their OnlyFans as they're fucking really interacting with like kids, bro. Like the guys are like fucking 5 years old or some shit. Like,
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
it's so fucked. And they're like, his girl's like really seductive, I guess you could say. Like it's really disturbing. And then also he fucking made out with the Ireland boy. He did the same thing. I saw it on his Instagram. He was like, okay, ready, let's do it. And he like just fucking made out with him, and then that was it. Trying to get clicks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He reposted on his YouTube. So it's like, yeah, people like him, like, dude,
yeah, I fucking hate that
like
guy.
he was on Impulsive Podcast one time, but it was
oh, when he was like a kid before.
It was when he was like our age, actually. I think he was 16. He was 16, and he went on the podcast because it was an event. It wasn't, and it was like Tanner Fox was on there, he was on there, and he just popped by, and they're like, oh, you know, we'll get you on normally. Yeah. They never fucking invited him.
Well, it was before he turned into like a dick, really. Like,
true.
Like the kid was like, I don't know what content he was doing before, but it wasn't the same shit that he's doing now with like, just fucking like loud mouthing people and just like being disrespectful. Like his content now is just like it's
It's
shit.
so,
Like
yeah.
I never really watched the guy, but I've seen those like reels or whatever or fucking shorts. Like it's just like they're brutal. Like it's just like
Dude, some lady was like, "Oh, please don't film me" or something, and he just fucking like lights fire to her, like just follows her, and like I've seen that, but also like I think 2 years ago there was this one fan that didn't like him, or not a fan, like some hater.
yeah.
He found the kid's location. He found his house, went to his house, filmed inside his house, snuck into his house, challenged him to a boxing match. Some random kid. Imagine you being at home.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid shouldn't have been talking shit. I mean, here we are. I don't know why he was, so I'm not going to justify for him whether it was wrong or right. But despite that, like, dude, Jack Doherty went to the guy's house, and the kid's dad was like, "Yo, don't do this here. Like, come on, man. Like, he shouldn't have done what he did, but, like, don't film in our house, and, like, don't, do this in our backyard and all this stuff." Like, it's so fucked.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, my view on the prank YouTubers. We've talked about it before, but this is more in depth, and also talk about JiDion.
Yeah. All right, I guess we can go to the next topic here. I have to use my phone because the Wi-Fi is like kind of bad in here. But the first one that I want to go over, this is on a sports topic. Basically, Deadspin ripped for outrage over a young Chiefs fan with painted face. So basically, what happened is, I'll put the picture up on screen, like right here, or I guess Colin will. And it's basically it's this kid. I think he's a 9-year-old kid, and he went to the Chiefs game. He's like a super big Chiefs fan, like a super fan, right? And the kid was wearing a headdress, like a traditional native headdress, with one half of his face red, like painted red, and the other half fully black. You'll see in the image. And basically, this kid wanted to get on the Jumbotron or whatever, just as any like 9-year-old kid would do. And I guess one of the pictures, like he was put on the camera for like the stream or whatever, or like for the broadcast of the game, and he was looking this way, or so the red side of his face like was not shown, and it was only the black side of his face with the headdress on. And then people were like berating this kid on like social media. Deadspin, which was like I guess is like an American outlet, or like not news, but like broadcasting, or like internet outlet or whatever, basically berated this kid for like blackface and being racist towards black people and like First Nations, like indigenous people. And basically it was a 9-year-old kid who's he's Aboriginal, like he's native himself. He's like has native heritage. And he's like just a Chiefs fan. Like there's nothing wrong with what he's doing here. And he just got like screwed over on social media. So here's the other picture there. That's the one that Deadspin put everywhere. And
just in the backside of his head, bro, under the ear. He could have done full blackface, man. Come on. If you're gonna go big, go home.
But so yeah, and then basically, Deadspin posted this: the NFL needs to speak out against the Kansas City Chiefs fan in blackface native headdress.
Dude, you're so fucking wrong. You're so wrong, Deadspin.
And then like, dude, so first off, the kid's 9. He's a football player. He's like just a normal kid from like Kansas, super fan, like his favorite team, and he's just like supporting his team, dressing up, like, and he got his whole life is like tied to that, right? Like obviously it's like bullshit, but it's like it's just it's brutal. Like the kid is like getting berated on social media, but I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think he is okay, so the Kansas City Chiefs, he is dressed up as a chief, right?
Yeah, that's the intent.
Story closed.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
And the team colors, like he's wearing...
He's not doing blackface.
Yeah. Like he's just wearing the colors, like the team colors. And then he's doing, like he started the tomahawk chop, like and like they're like getting mad. People were saying, oh, it's racist, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's just so ridiculous, man. Like you can't go support your team by dressing up. Like it's like, it happens all the time. Like at Canucks games, we used to have the guys back in like 2011, the green suit guys. They dress up in full green.
They went for a while. They started in 2011, but they went to like
They-
2015 or 16.
But then they stopped. Unfortunately, they
Yeah,
retired. But
yeah.
and then he'd go in the box and like bang on the glass. But that's besides the
Dude,
point.
some of them
like,
got so pissed in the box. I remember they'd fucking slash the side of
yeah,
the glass.
throw their fucking
Yeah,
water
yeah.
bottle or whatever. But yeah, it's like, it's just, to me, it's so brutal. Like, I watched an interview and they're basically saying like, it's people supporting the kid and they're saying like, Deadspin's just trying to get clicks and views, and like the only way they can do that is by like just berating little kids on social media, right? Like, so it's like they're just trying to get clicks and attention, and at the end of the day, it's like this kid is not in the wrong. He's 9 years old. He's a Chiefs fan and he's supporting his team. So like, if you want to call that racist, like, do as you say, but
I know
don't
this.
agree with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't agree either. I think the league should do something. Like, okay, obviously they're not going to side with him, but someone's got to arrange Patrick Mahomes to meet this kid.
Yeah.
That would make up for it in
But
my eyes.
you know what? So the one thing that they are doing, which I heard, is the Chiefs, the next home game. I don't know when the next game is, but basically all the Chiefs fans, there's this thing going out, like the Chiefs, like super fans or whatever, are all gonna wear the red and black face paint, the exact same as the kid. So it's basically like, fuck you, Deadspin, because it's just like,
Yeah.
it's so messed
Hey,
up.
that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what they're doing. And then I think Fox interviewed him. I think they were gonna give him money towards his like college tuition or something, because they were like, I think they did something with that. I don't know. I don't really remember the details, but they were helping this kid out and getting the story out there. So that's basically what's happened with that. And then in the other sports news, we
Same
have
sort of thing.
same sort of thing. Yeah, really relevant, super related. Wild Marc Andre Fleury basically wears a Native American mask for the Minnesota Native First Nations like acknowledgement night, and basically he had this mask designed with his wife's like Native background on it, and like just an ode towards the Native people of Minnesota. And basically what happened is he was told he could not wear the mask, even though it was that specialty theme night, and was fined for wearing it in warm-ups. So basically what happened is in the NHL, they don't allow people to wear these specialty, like to wear jerseys, masks, and like tape on like, or like specialty tape on theme nights, because last year I think it was, they had like a pride acknowledgement night, and basically a lot of players opted out of supporting that and like putting pride tape on their stick and wearing like the warm up like pride jerseys, because it was against their religion. Like some of them were, I think, Catholic or like Eastern Orthodox, and like they didn't want to be supporting that because they just didn't agree with it. And basically they opted out of wearing that. And so the NHL in response was like, okay, because so many people are opting out of these specialty nights, like fine, like whatever, we just don't dress up now, because it's just gonna like,
Yeah, fair enough.
you know what I mean? People aren't gonna react well if like someone doesn't, and we just don't want this to be an issue. So basically they stopped that. But then in this case, it's like Marc Andre Fleury is actually acknowledging it for like a good reason, right? And supporting like a good cause, and he ends up getting fined. So yeah, I don't know. This is kind of an interesting story. The NHL, like Gary Bettman's getting like just so many, like his inboxes are probably full. But this was a big thing, and there's a big debate about how this was handled and like what it means for the league. But what do you think about it?
I think it's I don't know, he's doing it for a good thing, I'd say. I don't think I think he just shot himself in the foot. He's been in the league a while. He probably knows this rule, and I don't really think anything against it. I think, it's expected, and I think it's a good rule that the NHL has.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes everyone happy, for the most part, except for a lot of like people that are like super leaning into one wing, I'll say, of the spectrum, political spectrum. But for the most part, you make most people happy. So I think it's a good rule. So I think for him to do this, it makes sense for him to have the repercussions, and I think he did it to himself. I don't really, I mean, good on him, but also at the same time, bad on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, he, like, when I originally saw this article or whatever in the news, I thought, like, okay, wow, like, this is pretty fucked up. But then when you look into it, it's like the rule was in place, and I understand why the rule was in place. And at the end of the day, he broke the rule, and he, suffered the consequence. So, like, whether that rule is, like, just or, like, they should have that rule in the game of hockey is not my decision. And at the end of the day, that's it. The decision of the NHL. And if he broke the rule, he deserves a fine. You can't just because he's, like, Vezina winning goaltender and he's a veteran, you can, like, dismiss him from the rule, right?
Yeah,
it's
true.
Like, no one's higher than the rule. So, yeah, unfortunately, I mean, he did take the fine. He wore it in warm-ups, but I don't know if he wore it during the game. So he ended up taking the fine, but it's a pretty hefty fine. Basically, his agent had warned him beforehand, I think. Like, I think it said beforehand that his colleague, Alan Walsh, which is, like, his, like, representative or whatever, confirmed his client, which is Marc Andre Fleury, was informed that he couldn't wear the mask even for warm-ups. The league prohibits players from wearing specialty jerseys, masks, stickers, decals, or tape for theme nights. So he knew that he couldn't wear it, but I guess he just took the fine. So, I mean, good for him.
There you go. He clearly knows that he shouldn't be.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think the league's in the wrong. You can say what you want about it, but at the end of the day, he broke the rules. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. But
valid.
Yeah, I guess those are all my topics. So unless you have anything
done
else,
all mine.
We can wrap it up there.
Pretty good discussion week.
Yeah.
Next week we'll see you guys in the studio.
Yeah.
This is probably our last one in the garage. I can't see us going back here ever. So thank you, garage, for bringing us back a second time, welcoming us again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have any recommendations. We have a few episodes left for the year until January kicks off. We have about 3 or 4, I want to say 4 episodes this month. I could be wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
But any recommendations, anything you want to see, any guests you want to see, let us know. Our socials are in the bio. Check us out there. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.